So I wanted to talk about Harry Potter and the film franchise. It's about a boy named Harry Potter who finds out that his parents were wizards, and they went to a school for witchcraft and wizardry. So one thing that I think makes Harry Potter a good series is that there's like an overarching conflict throughout the whole series, which is Voldemort and his desire to be resurrected so he can take over the wizarding world. So one complaint that I know people have against this series is like Harry's romantic life. So what happens is in later in the series, Harry starts a relationship with Ron's sister Ginny, and what people didn't like about this is that they had no chemistry, and I agree with this. So one character that I think one girl that Harry has good chemistry with is Hermione. So the reason I think that they have such good chemistry is that, like, Harry's like this average guy who's just learning how to become a wizard, while Hermione seems to be like this all-knowing girl. And so this provides like a contrast that makes their relationship really interesting, because so basically what happens in the series is that Hermione is like always correcting Harry and Ron. And like, for example, in class, one famous example of this is like Hermione correcting Ron about how to pronounce a wizarding spell. She says it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. And I think this banter between the characters with Hermione always trying to correct them and always trying to and her being this perfectionist, it provides, I think, interesting dialogue, and it creates good chemistry between the characters. So as I was saying before, I think Harry and Ginny have very bad chemistry because they don't really have this contrast in personalities. And what this does is that it makes the dialogue really stale and boring, and there's no flirtatiousness going on whatsoever. It's all pretty logical, and I don't really see any passionate emotions involved in their relationship. So what happens in the series is that Ron and Hermione end up falling in love. And I think this makes a lot more sense than Harry and Ginny, because I think it makes more sense because they're arguing throughout this series could easily be a cover-up for like secret affection, because what arguing does is that it shows what I think arguing does is that it shows a desire to continue a relationship with this other person, so you argue to make your beliefs known to this other person. So I think the potential dialogue for Ron and Hermione is way more interesting than Harry and Ginny's. Like, I can see Ron and Hermione telling their kids about how they met and how they fell in love, and I can see the kids laughing and being entertained by the story, because they started off as these people who didn't have much respect for each other, and they're always arguing, and they didn't really understand that this contrast in their personality was really bringing them together the whole time. Where with Harry and Ginny, I don't see the same interesting dialogue, because they're both logical characters, and they're not really pushing each other to be different or go out of their comfort zone. Where with Hermione and Ron, Hermione is pushing Ron to get out of his comfort zone by always correcting him and always like trying to make him the best wizard, or like the best person he can be. And a reason why I think Hermione and Ron have better chemistry is that there's a conflict in their relationship, but what the conflict in their relationship ends up doing is that it grows them closer together in the long term. So what happens is that it appears that Ron has fallen in love with this girl, and Hermione realizes that she's jealous of this girl, and so it turns out that Ron was under a love potion, but what the love potion did is that it made her in love with this girl, but it wasn't the girl that she was thinking of. It was another girl, but that's a different story. So the potion causes Ron to be hospitalized, and the girl that Ron was dating visited him and was worried about him, and what happens is that Ron is in kind of like a comatose state, but so Hermione and this girl kind of get in an argument, and the girl says that Hermione should just leave because she's Ron's girlfriend. But what ends up happening is that Ron says Hermione's name in his sleep, and what this tells the girl is that he has feelings for Hermione rather than her, and so she ends up breaking up with him. So I think this conflict ends up bringing them closer together, while with Harry and Ginny, there isn't this same conflict ends up bringing them closer together. Because so yeah, that's another reason why I think Hermione and Ron have better chemistry than Harry and Ginny do. So a lot of people are saying that Snape is actually one of the best characters in Harry Potter, and I agree with this because Snape is like this mysterious guy, and his allegiance is very ambiguous throughout the series. Like, he's a teacher at Hogwarts, but a lot of the time you start to question where his allegiance actually lies. And when he kills Dumbledore, that's when you really start to think that he was never really in allegiance with Hogwarts in the first place. You start to think that his allegiance was always with Voldemort. So as it turns out, the reason Snape killed Dumbledore is that Dumbledore told Snape to kill him, and the reason Dumbledore told Snape to kill him is because he wanted Snape to gain Voldemort's trust. So Voldemort ends up becoming the owner of the Master Wand, and the reason Snape wanted to gain Voldemort's trust is so that he could get close to him. And what he wanted to do was that he wanted to disarm Voldemort of the Master Wand, so he could use it to resist Voldemort and his dark forces. But what ends up happening is that Voldemort kills Snape. And the reason Voldemort kills Snape is that he suspects that the Master Wand, he suspects that Snape is the rightful owner of the Master Wand, and the Master Wand will only obey Snape, and that he thinks that by killing Snape, he'll relinquish the Master Wand's allegiance to Snape, and this will cause the Master Wand to be in allegiance with him and obey his will. So what ends up happening is that Snape wasn't the owner of the Master Wand. In actuality, the Master Wand obeyed Harry, and the reason the wand obeys Harry is because he disarmed Draco at Draco Manor, and Draco was the rightful owner of the Master Wand. And the reason why Draco was the rightful owner of the Master Wand is because he was the one who disarmed Dumbledore the night that he was killed. And so as it turns out, the one who disarms the person with the Master Wand is the one who is the rightful owner of the wand. So Voldemort thought that Snape killing Dumbledore made Snape the rightful owner of the Master Wand, when in actuality it was Draco. It's the person who disarmed the person with the Master Wand. So since Draco disarmed Dumbledore, that makes him the rightful owner of the wand. And since Harry disarmed Draco at Draco Manor, that makes Harry the rightful owner of the Master Wand. But what Harry ends up doing is that he destroys the Master Wand. He snaps it in two pieces and throws it into a ravine. And because he doesn't want this power to get into the wrong hands. Or what this could also mean is that he doesn't want the power to get to his head, and he doesn't want it to cause him, he doesn't want this power to turn him to the dark side, so he just destroys it and gets rid of it. So as I was saying, it's like the characterization of, so as I was saying, it's villains like Snape that get you interested in the villain, because the character is morally ambiguous and you don't really know where his allegiance lies until the very end of the series. So I think that it's characters like Snape that keep audiences engaged in the story throughout the series, because you have to finish the series to really know where Snape's allegiance lies. And as it turns out, Snape was allegiant to Hogwarts the whole time, even when it didn't really seem like it.